it's understanding that to then make a wiser decision, be like, okay, wait, let me reassess, my life. Let me reassess what I want. You know what I'm saying? I know I need short-term gain right now. What little things can I do now? So that way, when I am ready for an investment in the future, I'm not expecting a return right away. I could kind of just let my money build. Hey, welcome to Uncommon State of Mind, where we debate different ways to leverage your next investment to create time freedom, legacy impact, and generational wealth. My name is Joey, aka Mr. J Mays.
Hey, and I'm AD, also known as AD the Fly Realtor. What's good?
Hey, so we're usually debating topics, which is fun, but today we're actually going to really just spend the time talking about something that AD kind of brought up to me, and I was like, bro, this is going to be a great topic to talk about, which is lifestyle creep. Now, before we do that, I did want to bring up a fun fact. I watch a lot of podcasts, one of them being STR Data Labs, and they shared a link with me from CBRE in regards to short-term rental investing, mainly multifamilies, and how the multifamily space is going to do coming in 2023. Now, for me, that just brought up, certain theories in regards to short-term rentals and long-term rentals as a whole that I felt it was important to discuss. So here's the fact. Pretty much, there's a lot of new multifamily projects that are going to be complete within 2023, right? I believe it's 450,000 brand new units nationwide are going to be available on the market sometime this year, right? Now, what that's going to do is drive up vacancy. Okay, so vacancy, they're expecting vacancy to trend within the years of between now and 2030 or 2035. You can double check. You can look at the link to kind of verify. They expect vacancy to go up to around 5%. Now, why am I bringing this up? Right? Like, Joey, okay, that's wonderful. What does this have to do with anything? So, in regards to short-term rental arbitrage, which is renting a space then to go ahead and re-rent it as a short-term rental host, knowing that vacancy is going to be driven up to about that 5% range, this could cause an opportunity in the market, right, for short-term rental hosts to approach, multifamily landlords and be like, hey, I can see you may be vacant in this property. Let me provide that solution and be a short-term rental host here. You know what I mean? So
Most definitely.
that opens up a door for us as short-term rentals who run arbitrage, because they're going to be owners that own these multifamilies that are looking to get their places filled. Nobody likes vacancy; they like that cash flow.
Nope.
So with that, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people who do want to go down the arbitrage route to go ahead and acquire and occupy some of these units. All right.
No, for real, definitely. And honestly, for me, when you sent me this article, I was like, oh, dang, okay, all interesting stuff. More multifamilies are going to be presented to the market, like they said, and that'll be, I believe they said 2.6% of what's currently available. And that sounds like a small amount, but that's actually a lot. At one time, 2.6% of all the multifamily available, you know what I mean? It's just gonna be in the market. So it's what that also tells me though is that it's really important to kind of have an idea of what's going on in the economy in the world. We can't be too closed off, to just ourselves, because when you are you're not aware of the opportunities, because it's like he said, this is an opportunity for all sorts. Let's say you're already an owner of multifamily real estate and you see that you get a dip in your long-term occupancy, or for some reason you can't get someone to fill units as quickly as you used to. Maybe you want to consider, how about I lease this to someone who's going to do rental arbitrage? You know what I mean? Because you can still rent it at a premium, because these STR guys, they're going to pay that premium because they're making the returns. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just smart, make that pivot. Like, or maybe you want to do medium term rentals. You know what I mean? Maybe you're by a hospital and you want to give it to, like, do it to some travel nurses who will be there for 3 months. So it's like, don't be too stuck to any one idea.
And AD brings up an awesome point, because the point that he's bringing up is like, as an owner, because for me, I'm always thinking about the short-term rental side, but there's a lot of people who are owners of multifamilies that don't want to get into it that way. They're not looking into the hospitality side. They don't care about that. As as Ada and I have debated in the past, like, they want to just make their money and just chill. You know what I'm saying? Now, to go ahead and do that, to go ahead and look into a operator in short-term rentals, I think it's a win-win, only because not only can you charge more to a short-term rental operator who's going to conduct arbitrage, you can charge more money than you would a traditional renter of a family, because you know the purpose of the unit and why they're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And as a short-term rental host, me personally, we're open to it. We're like, okay, yeah, charge us more. Don't kill us. So don't kill us. Charge us more, but we're definitely open to that because we know how much this property can make, or its earning potential. So that's like, it's a double faceted thing, man. It's an awesome opportunity that's coming up. Take a look at that. We're probably going to hit on that more later on for sure.
Yeah. You want to let the audience know where they can find that article at?
Yes. You guys could check out that article on CBRE website, cbre.com. If you guys can look that up, it's under the multifamily section, and it's an article that kind of projects what's going to happen for 2023 and onward. So check that out. We should have it in our show notes as well. Yeah, I think that's it for that.
That's cool. Good stuff. I love talking about multifamily,
bro. And that's why it's awesome to kind of have these debates and talk about, the differences between, multifamily rentals, long-term and short-term rentals, because not only can we find the differences, the pros and cons, but then we can find the places where we can meet in the middle.
Right. For real. No, I used to tell this to my wife, no, every idea matters, because if you present a different point of view, now I know what I know, but now I also know what you told me. So now I could think about it differently and I might come to a better conclusion. You know what I mean? But if I'm so rigid and I just want to think about what I know, then I'm stuck to only that, and it's like, that's no way to live life.
That part.
That's not for me.
And that's why our friendship works so well, because we always come at things at different perspectives, and it's very insightful to have somebody to have a conversation with that just can go deeper into different aspects just in life in general, and that can just open your mind to a brand new way of thinking. So
seriously, and it's gonna keep it real.
Man's gonna keep it real, not gonna sugarcoat and flour or some stuff for you. You know what I mean?
Right. Real, it's important.
So what we really want to discuss today, off of that tidbit, is pretty much lifestyle creep. And AD actually came up and talked to me a little bit more about lifestyle creep, and made me kind of understand what it was, because we all experience it. Me personally, I didn't know there was a term for it. I'm gonna go ahead and let AD explain what that is.
Yeah, man. So, like you said, we all experience it, but a lot of us aren't necessarily aware of it, or we don't really see what it is. So as a matter of fact, first, let me explain what lifestyle creep is. For those of you that don't know, lifestyle creep is, say for instance, you're making a certain amount of money, you just got out of college, you found a job you're getting $40,000 a year. Not a lot, but you could take care of yourself and you could get a studio, you're doing good. But then at that job, you get a raise, they bump you up to $52,000. You got a raise, you got a new position, you balling. Now I don't need to take the metro, I can afford a car.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's that's cool. But you got tired of that job. It happens all the time. So you left that job, you got a new job. Now you're making $65,000. You making more money.
Okay.
So you you know what? Let me go get a flyer apartment, because the studio was cool when I just got out of college. Let me go get a flyer apartment. I'm not going to buy no assets, but let me go get a flyer apartment. So then now you're making this certain amount of money. You go get what else? More shoes, more clothes. Maybe you're going out more, bottle service, whatever it may be. So that's lifestyle creep, where it's you make more money and you don't automatically live your life the same way. You start spending more into the luxury.
So what you're saying is, when you make more money, when you make more cash, you're saying you shouldn't just go and buy what comes out in front of you, like the next like George that just came out.
See, because the thing is, what happens to a lot of us is we have all these things we already say we want for when, you know, like when I make more money, I'm gonna go there. Yeah, you gonna see me pull up too. I'm gonna pull up with my, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how we are. It's like, oh, like when I make more money, I'm about to like make sure I get the new Jordans as soon as they drop. You know, whatever it may be. But then it's like we do these things, and it's like a lot of us have been there. I myself have, like, where I start making more money and I'm like, dang, like, how come I'm still not operating with as much money as I should? But then it's like, I'm not looking at the way lifestyle creep hit me. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, I wasn't doing the same things as I was when I was, if I kept my, what did I say, $40,000 habit.
Yeah.
And then like had my 55,000, 60,000, whatever salary. It's like, oh, I would have had more money aside, and with that money, I could really start, you know, working on my freedom, you know. So, but like, so I think, like we said earlier, my fault to cut you off, but you know, it's just something that happens a lot. But like we said, like people aren't, most of the time, I really don't think people are aware that like, oh, like you started spending way more when you made them.
So what you're saying is like the reason why, you know, observing and recognizing why there is lifestyle creep in your life is because with that cash that you were talking about, like making that extra 40K, instead of buying those extra, like, you know, your bling or your new car or those new Jordans, you're spending that money and you're putting it where in like an investment, or are you like what would you suggest if somebody makes more cash, right, in whatever they're doing, like maybe they got a raise. So what would you suggest they do with that extra cash that just came in, as a, you know, besides buy that stuff that they want?
See, well, first of all, like, I don't want to knock anybody for buying, like, you know, nice things or luxury things, jewelry, shoes, cars. Like, I love all those things too. And it's like every now and then, like, your boy splurges. You know, let's not make it seem like I'm always just doing this, like, you know, smart money move. No. But I am saying that it's like, just let it be healthy. You know what I mean? Don't let it get too out of control. So, but with that said, what I think people should do with their extra money is, like, number one, buy multifamily real estate in Southern California and hit up AD to fly real estate. But outside of that, really,
How's number just on the bottom of it?
right? Like, bumping my number, Instagram. Coming across the bottom, so don't worry, like, just hit your boy. But no, but in all seriousness, like, really, like, just like, find a way to start buying your freedom. You know what I mean? Like, find a way to start buying your freedom. So, like, maybe for me, if I get more influx of money, like, maybe I'm looking at multifamily real estate. You know what I mean? But like someone else, they might be like, oh, let me go in on some dividend stocks or just the stock market in general, you know, like, or maybe go invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, go find, like, maybe you want to find a new trade or a skill to develop, you know what I mean? Turn that trade into another source of income, whatever you want it to be, like.
And I love that I love that you said that, because that's like, and this is why we're friends, because that's always been my mentality. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to make this extra cash, especially during the pandemic when people were getting these checks and, you know, everybody, you know, had money.
Everybody.
It was like, for me in my head, I was like, okay, so how could I invest in the things that I'm doing regarding short-term rentals and in myself a little bit better, since I have all this cash influx, right? For me, you know, I started talking to you more about like cryptocurrencies and the regular stocks.
I do remember that too.
You know what I mean? So I ended up, you know, investing, and I was listening to a guy, I forget his name. I wish I remembered him. But he's like, if you really want to achieve success, you need to invest aggressively in your 20s. You know what I'm saying? In your 20s and 30s.
Right.
Because you're never going to be able to hustle as hard and go as hard as you can at this age when you get older. So if you're investing in not only in yourself and your businesses, you know, and actually in yourself and in your businesses.
Yeah, primarily.
In other aspects of your life, of course, as well, but mainly those two things, in yourself and in your businesses. If you can invest hard and heavy right now, the older you get, the less opportunity you're going to be able to do that because you have more responsibilities, you have children, you have a wife, you have all types of things that you're gonna have to make. You're no longer making the decision just for yourself anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's powerful that you decided that you wanted to bring that up, brother, because it's a real thing and people need to kind of recognize it. And you don't know what to guard against if you don't recognize
Well, it's an enemy.
that is,
For real. That's so true. Like, it's so true because it's like, you know what I mean? Because just like you said, like, if you don't know what you're up against, like, you don't know how to prepare for it. You know what I mean? If you don't know how to prepare for it, because I recall, like, having conversations with people where, like, they mentioned how they don't, like, I'm thinking of someone very specific in particular, but I don't want to say who.
okay, I got
Okay, but they mentioned how, like, they don't like talking about, like, potentially buying real estate. They'd rather just wait until they had the opportunity to buy, But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I may not have the money right now, but I don't want to talk about it until I have the money. But the problem that presents is that if you don't talk about what you're going to do when you're in a certain position, then you get to that position and you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So now you're just subject to whatever your desires are, like whatever you feel like in that moment. So it's like, but if you like think about it beforehand, like, no, as I increase my wages, as I increase my income, I'm going to now like do this and this and this with my money. You know what I'm saying? Now you have a plan of how you go about it. So one, it incentivizes you to go hard and make that extra money. But two, it puts you in position where it's like, okay, now I'm making that money, like it's going to these certain pockets. And it sets up those, trends and habits that you can take, like you said, into marriage, into having a family, or into whatever your goals are.
And I love, bro. That's so huge because it's exactly that. When you get into a situation where you are doing better for yourself, maybe a little bit in the future, or maybe you just find yourself in a large influx of cash out of nowhere. If you don't already have a plan in place, then you're like, oh yeah, let's go to this Laker game.
Yeah, there's out for us. Oh, let's go for a bottle service. Whatever. Let's see you love and work. And you're like, all right, let's go.
Hey, let's do this. Yeah, want to do this? Okay, but it hits so different. And me personally, that's kind of how I gear my life. It's pretty much everything. I'm very goal oriented. I get so much satisfaction when I can check off a box on my to-do list. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a rush for me. What is this? It's a whole dopamine rush for me.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So when I have, me personally, that's why I like setting up specific goals and benchmarks for myself to hit. So when, if I do come into a situation where I do get some more cash, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what to use this for. You know what I mean? Because this is my goal. I know I need cash in order to do this. Let me go ahead and put that cash this way and not do anything stupid to kind of jeopardize what I have planned for myself in my future. And that's what it is. It's all about planning. And as you get older, you start to realize this, when you're younger, like when you're young and you're drinking out at the bars and you're like going crazy and you don't really check yourself. Like 5-10 years down the line, you're like, damn, I really wrecked myself. And now you're looking like, damn, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I'm in a wheelchair.
Well, that's first, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Not preparing yourself or not operating for your future self really hurts you. And so taking the time to plan, to operate, and to make sure that your future self is set and taking the steps today to make sure that happens for you in the future is so huge, man. Financially, physically, spiritually, in every aspect, if you want to be honest with you.
No, for real. And you know what that really feels like to me is like delaying gratification. You know what I mean? And like delaying gratification, like it's kind of like what he said, like you understand that if you like hold off on all the benefits of whatever it may be for now, you know that like in the future, it'll be better. So for an example, like in the fields we talk about, like let's say you invest, like you don't, like you should, for the most part, you shouldn't be investing to think that right after you invest, you're going to get that biggest gain from your investment. Like it's usually not working like that. Usually like you invest and you let whatever you invested in grow and, nourish. And then down the line, you get to reap the benefits of that. So it's like the satisfaction doesn't hit you right away when you invest. So it's like it's the same thing. That's delayed gratification. I'm gonna put this money towards something, let it grow into something that's gonna reap me more benefits than what I put into it. So it's like it's just a real cool thing.
No, I love how you segued that back into real estate, because that's exactly, as an investor, you really have to perfect delayed gratification. Because it really is, because you put so much money down. Say you do go and invest in a multifamily property and you are looking at cash flow, understanding that, you put hundreds of thousands down, but you're only getting hundreds back monthly in cash flow. You know what I'm saying? And for some people, you're like, well, this wasn't worth it. You know what I mean?
No,
But
for real.
if you fix your mindset, understanding that, oh no, this asset's going to appreciate in the future, or, I can charge higher rents in the future, or I can even get myself another asset in the future from the appreciation of this asset, and setting yourself up for something greater. And it really is mindset. Are you here for, actually, I had a friend of mine, quick story. I had a friend of mine. He's like, Joey, what's going on, man? Like, I have a couple grand to invest, man, and I'm looking to get a short-term rental started. And, man, I need money right now. Like, I want to get a short-term rental started. And I'm like, I said, no, I'm not, stop laughing.
I'm not where this is going. That's
So I was like, how much do you have? You're like, yeah, I have like 10K I can start. I'm like, okay, 10K, depending on where you're trying to start, that's not going to be enough to start up one right away. He's like, no, I just really want to cash flow. I'm like, no, let's hold off. I'm like, so what's your credit score right now? You know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, I need to fix my credit score and things of that nature. I'm like, oh, cool. So how about we use some of that cash to fix your credit score?
I was about to
Gain your credit score. Yeah, like get your credit score higher, so that way, maybe in the future you could be approved for a higher credit lines of credit and things of that nature, which we can get into that. That's a whole nother thing. We can get into that later.
Deep.
So let's increase your credit score, so that way you could probably be a credit partner, and we can ask for lines of credit. And then after that, instead of starting one and trying to live off of the cash flow of one unit, that's going to only cash flow.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get you approved for more cash, so that way we can open up multiple units.
Right.
Then you can accumulate cash flow from multiple units, and then, we can move that way. He's like, yeah, it's going to take a few months for me to like get all that stuff done. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I honestly said, I'm not going to work with you like this. Like,
like for real.
Because I can't work with you like this, because I see where you're coming from in your mindset, and you're not gonna, from what you're trying to start, you're not gonna be happy with what the return.
It doesn't match the results that people who are in this arena, get.
Right.
Because I'm glad you said no, because that just would have been a headache for you. In all honesty, that's all it would have turned into, because like what he needs to do, he's trying to pull a lick. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get some money real quick and do some like Ghost from Power type stuff. Like he wants to like get so much money. Like what you do is you invest and you delay that gratification. You know what I mean? Like so it's like, really, this is the sequence you're looking for. Like you do something to provide value. You provide value. Because you provided value, now you get money. When you get that money, you live off of some of that money. You put another chunk of that money away to invest. Once you invest it, it grows, and then eventually it's able to do something back for you. If you're trying to get this money, like put it towards something and get, the benefit right away, like nothing in life works like that. So it's like, why do we think that we should be able to invest?
I won't say
get so much back.
I won't say nothing in life works like that, because there's a lot of products out there nowadays like that could produce returns that way. But when it comes to like short-term rental investing, or investing in property in general, you really need to play the long game. You have to operate it. You have to operate thinking from the long game first. You can never operate from the short game.
No, like
for an example,
things in life,
most things like, so I'll get an example of one thing that does. So she had her own, I think, cosmetic line.
Oh,
where she was like, when I say she was making a ridiculous return on ridiculous markup, because she made her own cosmetics. It took like, I don't know, for each product, maybe $1 to create, $1 or $2 to create. reselling it for $16. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And there's things, and she was making a killing. You know what I'm saying? Return on investment there. So there are things out
I
there,
get
products
it,
out
but like even that, see, okay, I guess like in that sense, yes, like okay, you can quickly get a return on your investment, but I mean more in the sense like people want to like more in the sense of like where people want to like put money towards something and like not do nothing and get something back instantly.
Okay, I got you.
You know, because like let's say even in real estate, like you can quicken the process of getting a return. Like you can force appreciation by adding value to a property. You know what I mean? So that's a way that you can quicken the process of getting that gratification.
Right.
You know, to keep on track with our theme here. So it's like, yeah, I get that, but I mean like the way this guy was talking to you is like, no, I'm trying to cash flow him right now. It's like, dude, like, how are we gonna cash flow off of $10,000?
And in all respect, because he might, see, he's a good friend of mine. If you're watching this, this is no disrespect to you. I love you, brother.
No, and honestly, it's not even you. Like, we're so lucky to have this example so we can talk about it and like help other people.
Yeah, because there's
Be mad.
yeah, because there's a lot of people that do think that way. They think they're like, okay, let me hurry up, splurge this cash, and make this quick return as fast as possible. But like, you know, especially if you don't completely understand the market that you're getting into and you're just trying to throw money somewhere just so that you get a quick return, that can be very dangerous. It is very dangerous. It is very risky. You know what I mean? Unless you're working with somebody who's been in the business before, who can then educate you. But you know, and that's, you know, it's understanding that to then make a wiser decision. Be like, okay, wait, let me reassess, you know, my life. Let me reassess what I want. You know what I'm saying? I know I need short-term gain right now. What little things can I do now? So that way, when I am ready for an investment in the future, I'm not expecting a return right away. I could kind of just let my money build.
Right. So in that situation, I think that would be a time where it's better to just invest in yourself. You know what I mean? Like if he took that 10,000 and found a way that he can like, okay, what can I do to start making money right away? Like, you know, a lot of people, their entry into the real estate realm as far as being a real estate pro is wholesaling. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Maybe he could have taken a course or a class that taught him the skills to do that, you know, and he could start trying to make money right away. You know, like it happens, you know, or whatever it may be. So it's like, because if he had another way to make money, he wouldn't be so reliant on using that to make money right away. If you know what I mean, that 10,000, he would have understood that like, okay, I have to put it forward. And honestly, like, I'm really going to reap the benefits when I scale, you know, which takes time, which takes me to keep nurturing that portfolio or that property or that investment, whatever it may be. You have to keep nurturing that. And eventually now it's something that like, okay, it's so massive. It can take care of you. It can take care of your lifestyle. But it's like, I really don't like that idea of like, oh, I made an investment, I'm gonna reap something right away. Like things don't work like that, dude. Like
Those things don't.
like in sports, it will never work like that. Like even in like the world, like if you go to college, like most people don't get out of college and hit their earning potential right away. It takes time before you actually hit an earning potential.
We're gonna actually talk more about that.
Yeah. No, for
We
real.
can have some conversation off of that. But to piggyback off of what you said, man. But no, yeah, this turned into, we're talking about lifestyle creep, but it actually really turned into a mindset, a mindset aspect of also, because it really is. If your mindset is like, I need to make money now, well then you're probably in the wrong game if you're talking about investments. But if you already have set yourself up in your head that you're like, okay, I know that I'm going to put in work now, that I may not see the returns right away. I might not see the returns this year, maybe not even next year, you know, but I will see my returns eventually. Then I have somebody who I was talking to who's like, this is the type of game where it's like, it's not get rich quick, but it's get rich for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for sure, like down the line, if you continue to scale and you continue to nurture your baby and build your portfolio and add inventory, then for sure down the line, you're going to be at a point where you're comfortable. But if you think it's going to happen right now, you know, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, because like I agree, because it's just really it's just not, like he said earlier, the mindset, like it's just really not an ideal mindset to carry on with, because, like, just find a way to, it's really about finding a way to enjoy the process so that you don't get mad that you're not at the finish line yet. Because if you enjoy the process, that makes getting to the finish line all the better, because, you know what I mean? Like, you enjoyed yourself getting up here. Now you're at this level. And, when you get to a new level, what do? You create new challenges. You know what I mean? So it's really about mindset. Like, when you have the right mindset, knowing that every new level I get to is going to be a new challenge, then you would be able to understand that, like, okay, once I make more money, I now have this challenge of figuring out what to do with this money and not spend it frivolously. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just all, it all connects. Like, it's really a mindset thing at the end of the day.
I love that you brought that up, because I'm also a personal trainer. I'm also a personal trainer on the side. And I talk to my clients all the time that you need to, and this is something that I think I heard from like Blake Griffin or somebody, but or actually no, it was actually one of my coaches that told me this, but then I've heard it again throughout the years, is you need to enjoy the process of being great, right? And that pretty much says like during your workouts or during the sessions that you have, you don't go into them thinking like, all right, I want to be at this point right now. Or even for like weight loss, like, and I always tell my weight loss clients, like, don't think about the number right now. Don't think about how much weight you want to lose and what you want to look like. Think about the tasks that you have for that day, perfecting those tasks and calling that a win.
Right.
And do that consistently every day, because the better that you get at just completing the task you have for the day and perfecting your craft, or perfecting your squat, or perfecting your bench press that day, finding a little thing to tweak and being better at it for that day, over time, you're gonna be beyond where you're at. You're gonna be not beyond where you're at, but you're gonna be at the level of where you and you do those little tweaks every day, and you perfect your bench press, or you perfect your squat. That all adds up over time. You're gonna be able to look back and be like, damn, like the goal that I had for myself, I've not only met it, but I've surpassed it, because I wasn't focused on the goal. I was just focused on getting better each and every day. You know what I mean? So that goes into so many, and that's why I love sports and lifting weights, because it all trickles down, man. It really is. It's the same mindset for all of those processes, you know what I'm saying, that goes down throughout all types of aspects of life. So in regards to investing, it's that same thing. How can I perfect running my short-term rental, or how could I perfect running my multifamily, and get these little things perfected to a point where when I look up, it's easy to go ahead and scale and add more inventory to my portfolio, because I have all of these processes set up and I'm ready for that now.
Exactly. No, honestly, you remind me of what Brandon Turner from he's part of the Bigger Pockets family. He used to be the host. One thing he says often is, like, let's say you have a goal to, I don't know, like, I have a goal to be as buff as The Rock. It's like, okay, you want to be as buff as The Rock, but like, that's not your real goal. Your goal should be to live your life the way The Rock does, because that's the only way he got to that finish line. So it's like, when you think about it, even like just thinking about it in that sense, you already understand the principle of delayed gratification, because there's no way you're just going to wake up and end up being The Rock. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's a process. So it's like, he trains for several hours a day. You know what I mean? He sticks to a certain kind of like eating regimen. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things you have to do to eventually, down the line, be as, muscular as The Rock.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just this thing where it's like, again, like, if you have the right mindset about things, like, one, you don't get let down when you don't get to that finish line right away. And two, like, understanding that things take time and you can delay that gratification, because later on you'll be able to enjoy. Like, that's the part that people forget about. Like, eventually you do get to enjoy that. And also, I always think about it this way, because, like, have you ever explained something to someone and they're like, that's going to take too long?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is like usually when you're in the process of doing something, like, on that journey, it gets better as you go. You know, a lot of people think it's going to feel like when you started that whole process, and it doesn't. You know what I mean? It feels better along that journey.
Yeah.
Then you get to this new level, and you're like, wow, this is great. You know, but then you keep getting better, and then you get to a new level. And people think like, oh, I'm flatlining until I'm popping. And it's like, no, that's not how stuff works. You know what I mean? You like, it's a process to get to stuff. You know what I mean? Like, things don't boom instantly. Like, and it doesn't make sense to expect booms instantly.
Exactly. And it's within that process. It's within that process you learn that new thing, that new trend, that new skill that then allows that next day to be easier. You know what I mean? And then that next day, you learn something new about that process. And you're like, okay, well, let me add this into my regimen. And I can add that for tomorrow, which then makes that next day even easier. And then now you're operating fluently and you're operating seamlessly to now you're like, okay, I'm ready to scale. Whether that's in business, whether that's in weightlifting, whether that's in, anything. So it's very important to keep that mindset in regards to anything, honestly. But in this specific setting, short-term rentals and multifamily investing, delay that gratification because the reward is in the process, honestly.
No, for real. And it's always all about the process, you know? Like, you hear from several successful people all the time about how the process is what made the end result worth it, you know? Like, so it's like that process is what makes it rich and enjoyable and sweet to you, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, just enjoy the process and delve into it, you know? Find your little sweet space in there. It is the best thing to do, like, and don't be in such a rush to live a life that you wouldn't be able to sustain.
Yeah.
You know, you might as well wait till you can sustain that.
Agree with that. 100%. This was awesome. I think we're going to end it there, man. I feel like there's I think that was very valuable, especially if I was talking to a younger if I was talking to a younger me, that would be the message that I would want.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like, man, if I could go back to, like, even in college, to be honest, like, in college, there were things there were opportunities that I overlooked and I didn't do what I needed to with them. So it's like, up till now, it's like, you know, don't lose sight of taking info and getting better.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
So I'm going to go ahead and throw out our B for the day. And that B is going to be patient. Now, being patient doesn't mean not to take action and wait on things to come to you. It means when you're already in an action, when you're already investing, when you're already, looking for those returns, you're being patient in the process that you're already in. That way you're not over leveraging yourself or expecting more than what your investment is yielding, but being patient in your process, right? So that's that. That's our B for today.
All right. So be patient, be you, and be uncommon. If you guys enjoy the episode, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. It helps us out with the algorithm and it gets more people who may be interested and could get help from us tune in as well. Check us out on IG at Uncommon State of Mind.
Catch you guys on the flick, guys. Be uncommon.
Later.